Hello, hello. No problematic whiteboard today, just my fotch. So I'm so excited for this lesson, like every other one time I say this, but today I'm especially excited because it has been ridiculously hot out. And I cannot tell you how many times this topic has come up throughout the last 2 weeks. So I first of all, there's only like a few of you because it is the summer, so attendance is looking quite summery at this point. But for those of you who are watching live, tell me in the chat, how hot is it where you're at? Because I've been hearing some ridiculous numbers and I'm sitting here freaking out about like 90 degrees. But how hot? I think we got West Coast and we got Florida in the house today. So 118, which is baffling to think about. Like I don't know how like air conditioning systems don't just go belly up. That's crazy. What did you win? You won living in an inferno. That's what you win. Florida storming in 87 degrees. Yeah, it's about 90 up here and humid. Like walk outside and your glasses fog up brick wall humidity. It's crazy. And maybe it's because I'm from New Jersey, so I'm not quite used to how crazy hot it's been. Maybe it's like a little bit global warming. I don't know. But this topic has been very popular lately. And I think that there's a lot more that goes into it than just what to eat. So today I'm going to give you guys 5 tips on how to eat when it's really hot out, just more of the concept side of things. Like I mentioned last week, I'm going to be posting new meal plans. So this Friday is oh my God, this Friday coming up, I'm going to be posting a new meal plan, and it's going to incorporate a lot of the foods that I'm going to be talking about conceptually today. So this way you'll have your recipes, you'll have your shopping list. If you want to text me before then and just be like, hey, you mentioned this loosely on the Zoom, do you have a recipe for it? I'll just send it to you via text. So let me know ahead of time. But we are going to go more on the concept today. And I'm going to give you my top 5 tips. Okay. This is going to I have like these weird hiccups. I swear to God, I'm not just belching on screen. It's always a joy. But if I'm not out of breath and breathing like James Gandolfini, I have the hiccups. It is what it is. We do what we can. So I'm going to give you my 5 tips today. If you have any questions, as per usual, tell me in the chat. And let's get into it. This is going to be especially helpful for those who feel like they don't really eat enough. Like they look back at the day and maybe they're like binging at night when it's cold out. Maybe it feels like you oscillate back and forth between being a black hole for food and not wanting anything to do with food, or maybe just foods become your enemy. I don't know. But today I'm hoping that these concepts will help it feel a little less oppressive. Okay. So, number one, this is one that you probably hear a lot on our coaching calls and with your coaches, but you don't have to eat a lot, like in one sitting. I think a lot of times people think if I can get a really good meal in, it's better that I eat less frequently and then I have bigger meals. But I think it's the opposite. And this just goes for the whole year. Like, this isn't just summertime craziness and the heat. This is in general when you have a hormone imbalance, or if you're someone who just doesn't really doesn't feel hungry a lot, eating more frequently is going to stimulate the hormonal process that makes you more hungry. So you hear this from me a million times. This is one of the big baby steps for those of you. If you're not there yet, you'll probably get there. And that is, it starts with the morning, right? So your body picks up on your habits. And if you're not giving it nourishment, it's going to think about conserving energy the best it can, because its number one goal is to keep you alive. That is our number one thing, is survival instinct. So if your body has limited energy, limited nutrients, it's going to put whatever you give it towards your breathing, your heart working, your blood pumping, things that are absolutely imperative to you staying alive. What it's not going to do is waste energy. It's actually, as much as we may be pissed off at our bodies, it's a very efficient machine in that way, where our hunger, you're not supposed to get to the point where you're like, oh my God, my stomach's so loud. Like I'm nauseous. I feel like I want to drop. What is this feeling? Oh, I haven't eaten in, 6 hours. Maybe I should change that. Contrary to what diet culture and society has told us, especially if you're a woman, you're not supposed to get to that point before you can justify eating. You're supposed to have an appetite. And that appetite, where you get that little inkling that's like, I could eat, you know, that's caused by hormones. Ghrelin, which makes you hungry, and leptin, which makes you full. And that is one of those processes that is not going to happen if your body picks up on the fact that you don't eat a lot. It's not going to waste precious energy and resources creating this hormonal cycle to make you want to eat. It's just going to take what it can get when you give it to it. And that's what's going to create this feeling of like food being an absolute chore. And I think that combined with the heat, we just don't know what sounds satisfying or what we feel like isn't a chore to eat. So we tend to go longer without eating, especially if you're not working at home. If you're out and about and you're dealing with going from air conditioning to your car, and you don't have access to your kitchen all day, like food is going to take a backseat, and then your body's going to pick up on that, and it's going to just not make you hungry. So it's all one big cycle. So I think number one, the most important thing is it's about frequency, not large quantities. If you take a bite here of something, a bite there of something, that's going to add up, and it's going to keep your system going, and it's going to help you out and make it a little bit easier to want to eat hormonally than just being like, ah, shit, I got to eat. It's been hours. I might as well. Who here has been in that trap before where it feels like a chore, and then before you know it, it's midday, you haven't eaten, you feel like garbage, and you're like, well, I wonder why. I know I have. So started out in the morning, and one of my biggest tips with this is I like to make what's called, well, I work from home and I have access to my kitchen literally right in front of my face. So I don't do this anymore. But back in the day, I would make what's called a snackle box. So cute, right? So it's basically just like I get like a bunch of random stuff that I could take bites of and just keep it. At that time, I didn't have money to spend on they actually make snackle boxes now, which is really cute. But I would just put like Ziploc bags with pickings, different, I'm Italian, so dried sausage, pieces of cheese, veggies, love pickles, just something like I called them like trigger foods. So like little noshings that I would literally keep in front of me that I would just grab and eat. And at first in the beginning of the day, because I wasn't hungry in the morning, I never really until getting pregnant, which now I can eat a whole house as soon as I wake up. But beforehand, I've never been a big breakfast, like morning food person. So in the morning, I would consider it like a supplement where it'd be like, or if you take your thyroid meds in the morning or your medication or whatever. For me, having a few bites of something was like medicine because I knew that that would set me up to make it way easier to eat throughout the rest of the day, even if I wasn't having a legit meal in the morning. So that's a big one. It's also really important to not overheat. You want to make sure that you're thinking about insulin regulation. And now for me, type 1 diabetic, I take my insulin. It's very different. It's a very artificial process. But for those of you with a functioning pancreas, even if you have insulin resistance, you're still making insulin, right? It's important that you give yourself little bites of food throughout the day because that is going to keep your insulin regulated. If you're having dips, rises and dips, first of all, if you're on the lower end of blood sugars, you're going to get the sweats. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel, and who the hell wants to get the anxious sweats and the jitters when it's already hot as hell outside and you already feel like you're drying up? Like it's terrible. So keeping your insulin regulated by eating more frequently is really going to be a big deal, even if it's not like a groundbreaking amount of food or anything. Like, you can make some wonderful tofu dish that you saw online with 1,000,000 steps. Great, not my shtick. Even if you have some pickles and cold cuts, like a couple of bites here, that's still going to keep you more regulated than skipping it entirely and waiting until you feel like you're going to crash out. And then this advice in terms of frequency might seem a little bit trite, but it's important. When I started getting used to habits, and this is me saying this is someone with ADHD. So, and when someone told me this, I rolled my eyes. I almost rolled my eyes into another dimension, right? So I am not expecting this to be groundbreaking advice here. Set alarms. Even if you don't listen to 90% of them, you might listen to 10%. And then that's where a habit can start to form. So even if you set an alarm for yourself every 2 hours throughout the day, you're going to get so annoyed. You're not just going to snooze them all. At some point, you're going to take a bite of something. And then, like I said, that will cue the ghrelin. That'll cue the leptin cycle. Your body will be like, oh, thank you, girl. You gave me calories. Oh my God, we have fuel besides pure adrenaline. This is amazing. And then you won't need the alarms as much. But in the beginning, even if you're like, I won't listen to those, trust me, I thought the same thing. Set them, annoy yourself with them. It will be better than nothing. All right, so that's number one, frequency over quantity. Okay, so that's our foundation. We keep that pattern going. We let our body and our hormones make us want to eat more. From then on out, we figure out, what the hell do I want to eat? Okay, so number two, cold foods instead of hot. I know, more groundbreaking advice, but I don't know. It's like, it's also, it's like, what is it? Brain fart. I didn't put this in my notes, but Chinese medicine states that you should always be eating the opposite of what it is. Like, meaning if it's cold out, don't have cold food. You have warm food. If it's hot out, you have cold food. Don't eat hot food. Right. So it's that like the yin and yang portion of it, right? Where, and I'm not like by any means a specialist in Chinese medicine, but one of my friends is an acupuncturist, and she would always tell me, she's like, you know, I have clients that are sitting here, and now I mean, no judgment, but she's like, I have clients who will eat like ice cream in the dead of winter, and that affects digestion, that affects your hormones and everything, which I don't know. Chinese medicine is not exactly most scientific, but been around for a bit, so, and it makes sense, right? So, I mean, I'll listen to all the advice I can get in that case, but cold foods, they just seem better to eat when it's hot as hell out. Who wants to sit there and eat like a steaming bowl of soup? It depends on the soup, if I'm being honest, because I could eat soup all year round, but I shouldn't. But, you know, in general, unless it's a food you really love, going for something cold is going to be easier than going for something hot. So some ideas, and again, those, if you've just joined us too, I'm going to be putting this in the meal plan that I'm going to post on Friday. It's going to be very conscious of this Zoom, so they'll correlate together, so you'll have specific examples, but just to rattle some off. And again, we don't need large quantities. So cold cut roll-ups, non-boring salads. Now, what do I mean? This is going to be a recipe on Friday, but like I make, if anyone's ever had tabbouleh salad, I freaking love it. I make it with hemp hearts, full of protein, low carb, keeps fabulously in the fridge. It's full of nutrients. It's really, really good for you. It's got iron, magnesium, the whole bit in it. And it's delicious. And you just take a few bites, you know. Shrimp cocktail, stays cold. Yogurt and fruit, fruit and cheese. Cold rotisserie chicken salad. I mean, you can get pre-made chicken salad if you want. You can make it from the can if that doesn't gross you out. I wish it didn't gross me out, but I can't get down with the canned chicken. No judgment if you can. I'm envious. But cold rotisserie chicken salad, easy to make, right? Egg salad, dips and things that you could put into dips, like the different cheese crisps that are out there, different veggies. Dips are amazing for hot weather because you can also sneak a lot of protein into them and not even realize it. And again, it doesn't feel like you're eating some dry, like boring thing. Pre-made bruschetta or pico, you get that at the store, put that on stuff. Lettuce wraps for takeout burgers. Now, again, like, okay, I like lettuce wraps just for the crunch and the coolness of them. I know that diet culture has made it some kind of weird, like, you're not allowed to have the bread. And sure, some of you, your baby steps might be to be gluten-free or to be lower carb. And okay, fine, lettuce wraps. But in all honesty, I find it satisfying to eat a lettuce wrap in the summertime because you get that like crisp wateriness to it. You know what I mean? It's not like as much, I don't know if this makes sense to anyone else, but it's like not as much of like a commitment to eat as if you're gonna sit down and have like a sandwich when it's really hot out. I feel like that's drier. I don't know. But those are some ideas to go for cold instead of hot. I will be putting more on Friday's list. Pickle roll-ups, yes, and I agree. We call them Midwest sushi where I grew up. I love that. Then you can have so much fun with it too. You can do all kinds of different spreads, different cold cuts to roll it up in, different pickles to roll up in it. Like you can really play with variation on that. And I think that that's great. You can make them ahead of time, like make them the night prior while you're making dinner and put them in a sandwich bag. I think that's great. And if you have any other ideas for the cold foods as I'm talking about this stuff, feel free, put it in the chat. I love that. Thank you for suggesting. So that's number 2, cold foods instead of hot. If you really want to get crazy, oh my God. Okay, so if you have access to a Costco, I found this pre-made gazpacho. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram stories. It's pre-made gazpacho, which is just like cold tomato soup. It was so nasty on its own. Like I opened it and it was like the top part of the neck of the bottle had like it all kind of thickened and gathered at the top. And I'm like, this was wasted money. There's no way I'm going to actually eat this. I'm so mad. And then I shook it up and then it was still gross. And I was like, why would they sell this? And then I thought, I'm like, when I eat a good gazpacho, it's not just water. Like it's got veggies in it. It's got texture in it. So I'm like, okay, I got tomatoes, I got cucumbers. I'm going to chop them up real fine. And I'll get to why it's important. The shape of your food is also one of the things on this list. But I'm going to chop it up real fine, salt it because salt makes everything better as I sit here with ankles the size of my neck, but I digress. Salt makes everything better. So I salted my veggies and I poured the gazpacho in there and I mixed it all together. When I tell you, I went through the whole bottle, like it's so good. There's just something so refreshing. Like I'm drooling thinking about it. There's something so refreshing about summer gazpacho when it's good. And this one was. And I think it was like $6 for like a big bottle of it. And then just one tomato and a baby cucumber is all I chopped up. Delicious. Alexis, cold spring rolls. Yes. Brown rice paper with crisp cold veggies. I'm going to drool. And tofu or chicken. So good. And that's another textural thing, which I'm going to mention in here too. Like, now I'm thinking about that. Now I want that so bad. You guys are amazing. Yes. There's something about that paper. You're talking about like the clear paper, right? Like the cold Thai rolls or whatever. So good. So good. Especially if you like julienne the veggies that go in it, like you cut them really thin. Love it. With a good dip, like a good sesame dip or a good soy sauce dip. Okay. Number 3, crispy, easy foods. Texturally, when it's really hot outside, I don't know if anyone else can agree with this, you don't want to chew a whole lot. You don't want to have to like break stuff down, right? And also, I think when it's hot out, you want to feel like low effort. So I know it sounds so silly, but especially my neurodivergence in here or listening to the recording, like if you can relate, having to go through the hassle of using a fork and knife when it's friggin' hot out and you just want to, and you're not even all that hungry, you just want to eat and be done. It's like an extra step, like, and I think especially with neurodivergence, when we're working on dopamine, all those little extra steps, they actually do matter. Like that's going to make us not eat. If you have to prepare it heavily, if you have to sit there and be committed to like a fork and knife and a plate and stuff in the middle of your day when you're not even hungry and you're doing other things, it's not going to add to you easily wanting to eat. It's going to have to be a hell of a meal to make you want to stop and eat, at least in my case. Everyone's different, but at least from what I found. So, you want to think about that, you know, and here are some ideas. So like grilled or air fried stuff is really great because you can crisp up meats really easily. You can crisp up sausages, hot dogs. I'm all about a hot dog. I know I have some clients who are more on the crunchy, like clean side, and they're probably like shivering hearing me suggest that as a quote unquote health coach. But you guys know me, and I'm what did I call myself? I call myself crispy. I'm not crunchy, I'm crispy, right? So you know, I think that fed is best, and the healthiest body is a body that's well nourished throughout the day. And I love a freaking hot dog, especially if it's crispy grilled or crispy air fried. I'm all about it. So it's also because I can just sit there and I don't care. I use my hands. I like dip it in some Dijon mustard, and I swear to God, I could eat 4 of those bastards and just probably do more than 4. I love them. I don't even need bread. Rolled up cold cuts, like Anne was saying, Midwest sushi, you know, handheld, something quick and easy. Air fried or quick baked grab and go stuff. Like I'll do like little egg muffins that are just grab and go, you know. And those will also be on Friday's meal plan. So, and then like you're saying, cold spring rolls, that's a big thing. And you want to think about, this is what I was talking about with the shapes. I know this sounds really weird. Maybe this could be its own separate thing here. Oh yeah, it is. I did make it its own thing. Okay, number 4. Think of the shapes of what you're eating. That you might be like, what the hell is she talking about? But if something is like a really awkward shape to eat, just like how we were talking about with forks and knives being a chore. You ever get like a pizzeria salad? I don't know if it's the same outside of the tri-state area where like every now and again you find a pizzeria that makes a bomb salad. But you ever, they did a skit on it in Family Guy where it's like they chop a tomato in half. They put like, they have one long strip of carrot in there. They barely chop the lettuce. They throw in some black olives and they like, it's just like a miserable salad where everything is just, it's like some random vegetables thrown in a freaking dish. So nobody wants to eat that. It's boring. It's not texturally exciting. It's not cohesive. But then you think about something like bruschetta, where everything is chopped up, or pico, where it's all chopped up fine. It's all about the same shape. You know, you see some of these summer salads online where it's like shredded carrots, or it's my favorite tip is if you take a veggie peeler and you just repeatedly peel out of vegetables so that it ribbons into very thin strips. It's all the same size. It's all the same shape. It's just texturally easier to eat that way. Cherry tomatoes and the tiny mozzarella cheese, right? They're basically the same size. You don't want to have these like tiny cheese balls and like big wedges of veggies in there with it. It wouldn't hold the dressing the same way. It would feel discombobulated. There's a balance to food based on the texture and the size that you're eating it. Have you ever heard the term a mouth party? I like my food to be a mouth party. And for me, I like my mouth parties to be a little bit cohesive. So I don't know if that makes sense outside of this brain, but it makes a difference from what I've noticed. You want to have appealing texture to the food that you're eating. And that goes beyond if it's crunchy, if it's soft, if it's this, if it's that. That's also the size and the shape in which the food is, if it's cohesive. Some of my favorite things for this, cold, I mentioned like the ribbon salad, shredded carrot salad, things like that. But palmini noodles are great, especially in the summertime. Palmini is the name brand. You might be able to find them online cheaper if you just look for hearts of palm noodle, because that's what the hell palmini is. That's just the most popular one. So hearts of palm noodles are great. You can make them hot, you can make them cold. It's kind of like It's not fooling anyone into thinking it's pasta. It's very much a vegetable. But it's like it's not got a very invasive flavor of its own, but it's fresh. Um, it's like, in my opinion, it's like what I wish zucchini noodles were, where but zucchini noodles tend to get like mushy, or they're just too, like if they're raw, they're not, it feels more like a salad than a noodle. Palmini noodles are very hard to overcook. They hold up their texture. You can, like I said, you can make them warm in the pan. I just put like some butter, some soy sauce. It's great. Or you can make them cold and do like a peanut sauce with them, or a sesame sauce. And they're very, very good. Full of nutrients, of course, full of fiber, which is great for us with our hormones, keeping us in, helps keep your blood sugars nice and stable. And they're just delicious. I freaking love them, you know? So, and then I also really like cold lemony green beans. So you just get frozen green beans from the store, you microwave them up for 6 minutes or whatever it says on the package. Put them in a container, shake it up with some lemon and some butter, some salt, put in your fridge. Next day, snack on them. So good. Or I'm sorry. If you're gonna have them hot, make them with butter. If you're gonna have them cold the next day, make them with some olive oil. So good, so easy. Make sure it's flavorful. Okay. What else did I write here? Dips. I don't know why I just wrote the word dips in all capitals again, but I'm really passionate about the dips in the summertime. Oh, okay. Number 5, stay hydrated. My notes are like a quest these days, I swear to God. Well, we're in this together. We're going to decipher. But number 5, last tip of the day today, stay hydrated. Now, you might be like, no shit, Sherlock, it's hot outside. Everybody and their mother has been telling me to stay hydrated. I know this is not groundbreaking, but in a different capacity, where we know it's better for us if we're hydrated. We know we get more dehydrated, it's hot, blah, blah, blah. Here's another side of the coin, right? Is that you're not going to make enough spit if you're not hydrated. And if you're hot, you're uncomfortable, you're not salivating enough, which is where digestion begins. You're not going to be hungry. Food is going to seem like glue to you. It's going to seem texturally unappealing and like a chore to eat because you will have to work that thing, you know, and then you're going to swallow what, like a lead ball? Like it's not even going to be, you know, dry mouth central. No, stay hydrated and also look for hydration in the foods that you're eating. Dips, sauces, adding olive oil and vinegar to things. Vinegar is great at stimulating salivation, which again helps digestion. So, and in the summertime, you know, briny, vinegary things can help make things a lot more palatable for you. So you're going to want to eat them more. Same thing, not just vinegar, lemon juice, anything kind of acidic will help you produce more saliva. So stay hydrated and make sure your food has some hydration to it too, especially on the acidic side, because that'll help you want to eat more of it. All right. So not a super long one today, but just to recap, 1, frequency, not quantity. You don't have to eat a shit ton. You just got to take bites, especially start in the morning. Even if you're not feeling hungry, just take a few bites. It's going to help the hormonal process. That will help make you feel like you have an easier time eating throughout the day. It'll keep your insulin more level. Create a snackle box so you have it right in front of you, and set alarms if you need to. 2, cold foods instead of hot. Look out on Friday. I'm going to give you a lot of ideas for that. 3, crispy and easy foods that don't require a ton of chewing. They can be more handheld. You don't have to sit there and commit to spending time eating it when it's going to feel more like a chore to you anyway to do so. 4, think of the shapes of the food that you're eating so that they are more cohesive, so they're easier, more palatable to go down. Number 5, stay hydrated, both with drinking, but also including hydration in your food. So you're including more acidic, especially liquids like lemon juice, vinegar, sauces, dips, things like that. And again, I will include options on Friday's meal plan for you. All right. So before we go, so I feel like I rattled that off at a crackhead pace. Tell me your thoughts. Oh my God, Shelby. Oh, I just want to let you know that during this meeting, I broke through my hammock and hit the ground. Oh no, thank you for the visual. I like that you're laughing. You put the laughing emoji. I would be laughing too. But I hope you're okay. I hope your ass is okay. That sounds like something I would 100% do. One, I want a hammock, and two, I would bust my ass on said hammock. So thank you for the real moment and sharing that. I hope you're okay. But tell me, out of these five, what do you guys think? Which one seems like something you want to try and implement? Which one do you feel like you're most excited about? Let me know your thoughts. I'm a feedback queen, so tell me what you think. Definitely need to work on hydration. That's like, that could be written on my headstone, honestly. If I go a day without Nick yelling at me to drink more, it would be amazing. It helps me with thinking about how to eat in my eternal summer. More cold foods now. Shapes that are easy to eat. Isn't that an interesting one? Like, I was sitting here trying to get my notes together for this, and I was like, I feel like that's not something like maybe it's just me with my like sensory issues and my neurodivergence, but I think it's worth including that the shape of something is really a deterrent for me or makes me want to eat it more if it's like a cohesive, like I feel like texturally I'm going to take a bite and it's going to be a good bite versus like, I don't know. Like that's kind of why I have a thing against arugula. I don't know if anyone else shares my feelings. And it's like I love the taste of arugula, but it's such a tease because of the shape of it. I'm like, look at this spiky ass, skinny ass salad. Like I want more of this taste, but I don't want the texture of the leaf. I don't know. I could go on all day about little things like that. But um had a really nice watermelon feta mint salad. Whew, that sounds delicious. I saw somebody thin cut watermelon slices, like fillet them basically, and then lay it with like mint and like a feta spread and made it like a layer cake. And I've been dying to try that. And that reminds me of that. And they made like, I think it was like a mint tea dressing for it. Oh, it looked so good. I hate cooking and eating sometimes can be a chore. So if I don't feel like an idiot dropping my food everywhere, it will help. Totally. Like, who wants to sit there and get the perfect bite on their fork and it'll fall off before it even gets to their mouth? It's so irritating to me. So I hope this helps. I'm excited to give you ideas on Friday and really shake up the meal plan. If you haven't watched last week's recording on implementation of the meal plan, definitely go check that out. If you have any questions, if you want to text me and brainstorm about some ideas, if you're like, hey, this is my favorite game to play, I call it playing Chopped. Text me and be like, I got this, I got this, I got this. How do I make it a dish? I love doing that. You're never bothering me. I like very much enjoy the challenge. I get to flex my culinary school muscles. So feel free to do that. And remember, the best, most balanced body is a nourished body. So if you need any help continuing to eat throughout the day, especially in this heat, don't be a stranger. Reach out to me, reach out to your coach. We are here for you. Okay. Enjoy your night, enjoy your week, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.